Hello guys, welcome back, and today I'm going to be talking about Ryan Dzingel and him getting traded to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, Ryan Dzingel has been traded to the Columbus Blue Jackets, so what are the trade details on this trade, and which team won this trade? Watch till the end to find out. Now, one of the big guys for the Ottawa Senators, Ryan Dzingel, has been floating around the trade rumors, especially in the last couple of months, but with only 2 days away until the trade deadline, Ryan Dzingel has been shipped off to the Columbus Blue Jackets in an honestly pretty interesting trade. Now, when it comes to the trade details, first going to start out with the Columbus Blue Jackets, of course, the big guy in this trade, Ryan Dzingel. You also have a 2019 7th round pick from the Calgary Flames, which was probably just a throw-in piece. To the Ottawa Senators, though, you have a 2020 2nd round pick, a 2021 2nd round pick, and Anthony Duclair. Now, going back to Ryan Dzingel, he's had a pretty amazing season up to this point. Currently at 57 games played, getting 22 goals, 22 assists for 44 points. Very solid stat number for Ryan Dzingel. Him having pretty much a career year and fetching a lot of trade interest from teams like St. Louis, Columbus, and of course the Columbus Blue Jackets went ahead and got him straight after getting Matt Duchene. And what's interesting about this trade is because the Columbus Blue Jackets made the Matt Duchene trade earlier in the week, they also get Ryan Dzingel, so that Ottawa-Columbus relationship is really starting to tighten as they're both working well together. But Columbus is pretty much going all in on this year and on the next, but getting a guy like Ryan Dzingel will seriously add to their depth and be a major scoring piece potentially in the playoffs. And when it comes to the pieces going back to Ottawa, it is a pretty interesting trade because they do get 2 2nd round picks, and who knows what those 2nd round picks might be if Columbus maybe falters after this season. But Anthony Duclair is also a pretty solid piece. He is 23 still, a pretty young player. He went off to an amazing start with the Columbus Blue Jackets. It looked like he was back into form, and in the second half so far, it just has not really come up to snuff. But with the Ottawa Senators, he will get a big chance. He'll get some big ice time, and he can get a major opportunity in Ottawa to thrive and to really get the ice time that he needs to be the top 6 winger that he was projected to be. And those 2nd round picks are also pretty interesting because who knows what Columbus might be in a year, in 2 years, when that 2021 2nd round pick comes up. It really is a wild card because remember when Ottawa got Matt Duchene and they were thinking, oh, they're going to be the true contenders in the Atlantic Division, and then they just fell down to pieces after that Matt Duchene trade, and that 1st round pick that they thought was going to be a late one seemingly is right now going to be the 1st overall pick. So we never know how teams might dip down in the standings, dip back up, whatever it might be. But those 2nd round picks could be potentially very, very high, especially the Columbus Blue Jackets end up maybe falling down after the season if guys like Panarin and Bobrovsky end up leaving. But of course, with Ryan Dzingel going to the Columbus Blue Jackets, Matt Duchene going to the Columbus Blue Jackets, Dzingel and Duchene should form a little bit of chemistry already with the Ottawa Senators, but those two guys should be paired up quite a lot, especially in the next couple of weeks as they begin to learn their new team, begin to learn their new city. Those guys are probably going to heavily rely on each other, but bringing both of those guys in from the Ottawa Senators is not a bad idea, and I kind of like it for the Columbus Blue Jackets, especially heading into the playoffs. But Ryan Dzingel, in my opinion, was a pretty underrated trade piece because when it came to the trade rumors, almost everybody expected him to be traded, especially this season, but he was in the shadows of Mark Stone, of Matt Duchene, when it came to the trade rumors and even when it came to the scoring this season. But Dzingel has had a great season up to this point. Offensively, he's been fantastic. He's straight in the middle of his prime, and he could go on an absolute tear in the playoffs. He could be one of those guys that isn't the star, but could have an amazing stretch, and in the playoffs, I'm pretty sure he already has experience with the Ottawa Senators, and he can definitely use that with the Columbus Blue Jackets. And for a Columbus Blue Jackets team that wants to get it out of the 1st round, it's looking pretty good right now. And adding a guy like Matt Duchene is already good, and adding Ryan Dzingel is depth that they really do need. But for the Ottawa Senators, I don't really hate the return that they ended up getting. While those picks are later and years in the future, I still think that they might be pretty decent, especially if Columbus somehow falls off a cliff. But Anthony Duclair is also a pretty underrated piece in this trade because he could really blossom. Even though he is 23, I still think that is pretty young in his career, and he can definitely turn it around. Again, he was pretty solid with Columbus in the 1st half of the season, and I feel like getting that fresh start once again, but hopefully getting more ice time and having the security with his career right now. I feel like with Ottawa, they'll give him a lot of ice time, they'll give him a lot of opportunity, and hopefully he thrives with it. But of course, this is the part of the video where I determine a winner of this trade, the Ottawa Senators or the Columbus Blue Jackets, and this one is pretty hard to pinpoint. For me, we haven't heard anything about a potential Dzingel extension. For me right now, I feel like Dzingel will likely be a rental. He could get a lot on the trade market or on the free agency market if he were to go there. So right now, I'm going to assume that Dzingel is a rental. And if that's the case, I think the Ottawa Senators win this trade. Dzingel was a guy they were likely going to trade anyways, and they get a couple of pretty decent picks from the Columbus Blue Jackets that might end up being pretty high second-round picks. And a guy like Anthony Duclair could turn his career around and could be a potential top six winger for the Ottawa Senators. But while Dzingel is a pretty solid player and a player that you usually like to keep, I feel like he was just at that age where the Ottawa Senators didn't really have too much reason to justify keeping him, and he was having a great season that would fetch a lot of assets, and the Ottawa Senators definitely did get that in this trade. So for me, I think it is close, but I think the Ottawa Senators win it just slightly, just because of those second-round picks and the just mystery on what they could become. But again, Ryan Dzingel will be a very solid piece for the Columbus Blue Jackets, could fit in nicely into that top six, and he's a guy that I think will be pretty underrated, especially with Matt Duchene going to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Those two guys will probably mix in pretty well together on their new teams, but a guy like that, Ryan Dzingel, is a guy that they could definitely use in the playoffs. He is a clutch guy that has playoff experience in the past, and for the Columbus Blue Jackets, again, getting that another top six winger, they're looking pretty good right now, and while they aren't a fixture in the playoff race in the Eastern Conference, I think right now they should be. But of course, with this video, I want to hear your guys' thoughts down the comments down below. So let me know, what do you think about this trade? Ryan Dzingel heading to Columbus Blue Jackets. Let me know what you think about the assets and the pieces exchanged in these trades. And of course, let me know who you think won, the Ottawa Senators or the Columbus Blue Jackets. But if you guys want some more Grav videos just like this one, you can click on this card right here to watch my video about Matt Duchene and him getting traded to the Columbus Blue Jackets. But that is going for today, guys. If you guys enjoy, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you haven't already. Again, comment down below your thoughts on this trade and which team won. And I'll see you guys next video or stream. Goodbye.